Welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'll be doing a full spoiler discussion on Dune Part 2, and make sure to leave a like on this video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. The links are in the description, helps a lot. And also talk about your favorite scenes of Dune Part 2 down below in the comments. I'm very excited to get into it. And chapter times are down below if you want to, look at a certain spot that I'm talking about. First though, I want to talk about the IMAX experience of this movie because when I first started going movies to many years ago, I'm still young, but many years ago when I first started going to movies, I didn't go to IMAX. I didn't go to IMAX. My first IMAX movie, I think, was Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Grindelwald. I think that was my first IMAX movie I saw. I think it was on my birthday. So whenever that came out, like 2017, 2018, 2019, whenever that came out, that was my first IMAX movie, and I was like, holy crap, this is loud. I'm not prepared for this. And then, I've been going to IMAX movies ever since, all the Marvel ones I try to go see in IMAX. I saw the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I think it was kind of disappointing. All the Avatar movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, and all that, and Oppenheimer. It's just a treat to go see movies in IMAX. If you haven't done it, I really do recommend it because IMAX, you do get that expanded ratio on some of the movies, but I just go for the sound experience and so on. It just feels like I'm really into it. You're so close to the screen, just feels like you're in the movie. That's why I love it. And I think the only way to see Dune Part 2 is in IMAX. I've seen it 4 times now. I know that's a lot, but I did see the early screening, so that's how I saw it 4 times. And 2 times I've seen it regular, 2 times I've seen it in IMAX. And I think IMAX is just hands down the most brilliant way to see this movie. And I think it might be the best IMAX experience I've ever had, which is crazy because my favorite IMAX experience was just Oppenheimer last year. So we're getting just IMAX experiences left and right. The only reason why I think this is better than Oppenheimer in IMAX is because it's all in that expanded IMAX ratio when Oppenheimer did shift between IMAX and non-IMAX, because the IMAX camera is pretty loud and Oppenheimer had a lot of dialogue scenes, so they didn't want to use it for those, big heavy dialogue scenes. And it's in the IMAX ratio. The sound design for this movie is insane. Just like part one. Part one sound design blew me away when I first saw it in IMAX. This sound design is loud. It's loud as hell. I was like, holy crap. It's so loud. The score is loud. Just the sound of the ornithopters, like the rumbling in your seat, just like because the wings are going so fast. And then the ornithopter, it's like its gun, it sounds so crazy. I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. And I just think IMAX is the most fun way to experience this movie. And some movies you don't have to experience in IMAX, but I think if it does have that expanded ratio, and if it is made for IMAX like this is, and something like an Oppenheimer, something like a Godzilla X Kong, I think it is the right way to experience this movie. And I want to talk about how this film's kind of making history. This film has made history for me personally, and I will talk about others, but it's made history for me personally because I think this movie, and this movie has so many fans around the world, because I've never seen this amount of praise for a movie before in my whole entire lifetime. I mean, Oppenheimer comes close to this, but the amount of praise that this is getting is just off the charts. Its Rotten Tomatoes score is very high, even though I don't listen to that. Its Rotten Tomatoes score is very high, and in this age of negativity, how we're always very negative towards things, I wouldn't have expected it to be this high. I expected very good reviews because the first one was great, but this high of reviews is insane. The Letterboxd score average is like a 4.5, 4.6 now, and I still have to watch it a couple more times, but it might be like my new favorite film of all time. I know it's like new. It's a very new movie, recency bias and all that, but I have seen it 4 times so far. I will go see it more times. But man, it's just such a masterpiece, and it's a perfect film in my eyes personally. And it sets a new standard and a higher bar for science fiction filmmaking. That's why I think it does make history, because science fiction, I think, is a very hard genre to get right, just like horror. And I think that this sets just a new high bar for science fiction. It's made history as like the new bar to hit for high science fiction. And I will say this, if anyone says that this movie, if I ask anyone or go up to anyone and they say that this movie is straight up bad, I won't trust them. I will not trust them at all, because I'm all for opinions. Film is subjective, but if you literally go watch this movie and say it's terrible or say it's shit, I don't know what I'm going to say to you. Like, it's not bad. There's no way that you can think this is anywhere near bad. Like, if you want a bad movie, go watch Madam Web, go watch Argo, go watch Infinity Pool. If you call this movie bad, then you're gonna go think those movies are great and just have a fun time with those, and don't watch high class cinema, as I like to call it, because this movie's not bad. It's phenomenal. And you know, you might not like it as much as others, but you cannot go around saying that it's bad. I would love for you to go find a bad scene in this movie. I'd love for you to do. I could go on a debate and say why that scene is needed, because a lot of scenes are needed. And I think people will go on and say, people will say it's too long. It's only 2 hour 45 minutes. You know, I think that, films deserve to be long, deserve to have their stories told. And we can't really take out all these different scenes because they're very important. I think that this film has a lot of very important scenes in it, and I think its pace flows so well. It didn't feel like 2 hours 45, more felt like just 2 hour movie for me. And I felt that each scene had a lot of meaning, and each scene really flowed well into the other scene. And, I think that runtime and the pacing helps to build that fear among the Harkonnens, Fade Routha towards the end of battle, and you're on the edge of your seat. I saw this cool quote. Someone was like, "You don't need to buy a whole seat for this movie. You just need to buy the edge of it." And I'm like, that's kind of true, because I was on the edge of my seat the whole damn movie. And talking about box office, I do think that this film will have a lot of longevity at the box office, because it is getting 4 weeks in IMAX, and it's kind of pulling like an Oppenheimer. IMAX screens are all sold out. Everyone's waiting to get tickets for IMAX. So you're going to have a lot of people going to IMAX in the weeks to come. And I do wish it was getting more weeks in IMAX, but I mean, 4 weeks is a decent amount of time for this. I feel like that's a good amount of time, but I would have loved like 8 weeks, just, see it every single week. That's just happiness, seeing Dune Part 2 in IMAX every week. But Godzilla X Kong is the next movie to get the IMAX screens in about 4 weeks at the end of the month. So if you're looking forward to that, it's getting IMAX screens. I did see the trailer for that in IMAX. It looks pretty cool. They even have something at the end where it's like filmed in IMAX and it expands the ratio. I love when it expands the ratio and all that. And I do want to talk about the Oscar chances for this movie. Even though the Oscars this year haven't even happened yet, and this movie is not even gonna get its Oscars for another year or so. But I love to talk about award season pretty early. I'm not gonna talk about if it's gonna win any of them. I'm just gonna talk about the ones I think it's gonna get nominated for. And Dune Part 1 won 6 damn Oscars. Insane amount of Oscars. I think that this one could get nominated for like picture, director. It depends how strong the year is, but maybe actor, maybe supporting actor. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's going to get any actress nominations. Rebecca Ferguson could, maybe Zendaya, but I don't think those are strong enough. And, it's going to get adapted screenplay nomination, cinematography, VFX, sound design, editing. What else is going to get? Score, and then costume design, production design, all that. It's going to get like 10 nominations or some crap. It's going to be insane. This movie, I hope, will win a lot of Oscars, but it also does have to do with how strong is this year going to be for awards contenders. Right now, we don't really know, because a lot of awards contenders wait till the end of the year to start marketing, so we don't know what's going to come out. I think it's going to do very well at next year's Oscars, though. Let's talk about the book changes for a little bit, because I have read the book, but only once last summer. And, I don't remember every single change that happens in the second half, but I will talk about the 3 major changes that I noticed personally. And I will say, I think they all work for me. I didn't hate any of them. There's one that was just a little bit of a nitpick for me, and I will talk about that. The first book change was Aaliyah isn't born yet in this movie. She's still, Lady Jessica is still pregnant with her throughout the end of the movie. I like this decision a lot more than in the book, because in the book it's kind of weird. You're getting introduced to this higher being, and it's weird how they did it in the original Dune movie. I think it would have been weird how they did it in here. So I like how she's not born yet. Do a time jump for Dune Messiah and all that. Second change was that Paul kills the Baron, Vladimir Harkonnen, and Aaliyah actually does this in the book as like a child. And that's kind of just, it doesn't make any sense for me for her to do it in the book. And I like how Paul does it, because of the kind of revenge for his father, Duke Leto. So I like that a lot. I like what they're doing with that. And, I think that I do like that a lot more than how Aaliyah does kill him in the book. And the third change that, is just a small nitpick for me, but I think it has to do with the rating of this movie, because if you would have changed it to make it like the book, I think it would have been rated R, so they had to keep it like this in the movie for it to be PG-13, and that's Fade Routha's death. How he dies just to, Paul stabs him in like the stomach or like the side and all that. In the book, he gets Paul basically, they're in the fight and all that, and Paul stabs with the knife up the jaw into the brain. That's basically how he dies. Pretty brutal death, as I'd say. But But I mean, Fade Routh is a pretty brutal guy, so you got to kill him in that one brutal way. But yeah, I think that would have changed the rating of this movie just a little bit. So I guess they had to stick with just the knife to the stomach. Now it's time to talk about the performances of this movie, and I'm gonna do a ranking of my top 10 performances. I found just 10 people and I just ranked them, so that's how I'm gonna do it. But I will say that this cast is absolutely fantastic. And one of the best casts I've seen in a long time. Everyone's just doing so great in here. The acting is just off the charts, terrific from everyone. And I will say, Aaliyah, Anya Taylor-Joy, is not in this ranking because her character is so small. But I loved her just small scene when Paul drinks the water of life. Just that small scene, just seeing her and just how she's talking to Lady Jessica. I like that a lot. And I like how she's not born yet, but I like how we do have a casting for her. So we're going to see her in Dune Messiah. I have not read Dune Messiah. I need to go pick that up still. I'm very excited to go pick it up. I don't know how much I'll understand on first read through, but I'm very excited to see what happens because Paul, he's not really a good guy anymore. Let's just say that. So 10th place on my rankings is going to be the Baron, played by Stellan Skarsgård. Wow, I cannot say that correctly. But yeah, the Baron, he's more, I think he was more threatening in the first movie. I just still love his presence. You get that one scene where you go to the Harkonnen base, and outside of, the Baron's quarters, you have Dave Bautista's Robin standing behind the doors, and you just hear these girls just screaming in there because Baron he's just killing them. He's just like snapping their necks and all that, and they're just screaming in the corner. You see him in the corner, just dead. They're just dead, and it's like, holy crap, this man is a menace. And he's a big guy. He's like 450 pounds or something. And he has like that cool gravity device where he can just levitate and all that. He smokes a lot, eats a lot. He's a big guy. And then Dave Bautista's character goes in and he's just like floating above the oil bath that he has. I was like, that is absolutely disgusting. Go back into your bath, man. I do not like that. And it's like, what is his bath? Is it like an oil bath? It's like some kind of healing technique, I guess. It's weird how he bathes a lot in this movie. I'll say he's a bathing scene in Gidi Prime and all that, and then in the Arrakis base, Eric Keane. Eric Keane is so cool. I love that base a lot. But yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, 10th place. He's menacing. I love what they did with him in the makeup department. It's terrifying. 9th place for me is Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh isn't in this movie a lot, which makes sense because she's not really in the book a lot. She has, if you read the book, she has like the openings before the chapters start. It's like her writings and all that, her recordings, and this movie kind of starts with her recordings. You get to kind of hear those, and the costumes that Florence Pugh got to wear in this movie they were magnificent. They were freaky and like they wouldn't work in like a normal world, but they were really cool, especially the costume she has when they arrive on Arrakis. She has like those metal right in front of her face and all that, just covering up her face. That is really cool. But yeah, Princess Irulan, I think that she's a pretty cool character. I think we'll get to see her more in the next one. And I love how she's like a student of the Bene Gesserit. That's really cool. And I think that will play an interesting part in the next one. Didn't get to see much of her here. And, if you expect to see her more, I don't know why, because she's not really in the big part of the book. That also has to do with our number 8, which is Lady Margot Fenring, played by Léa Seydoux. I think that's how you say her name. She's mostly from the James Bond films, which I really loved her in those. She also has a small role here. She's one of the Bene Gesserit sisters and all that. And she was only on the screen for like a little bit of time. She's not even in this movie a long time, but when she shows up on Gidi Prime looking at Austin Butler she's going to try to tame him, all that. And just the one scene that really took it for her to get to 8th place for me was when she's walking down the hall on Gidi Prime, and Austin Butler comes up to her and she's like not even phased. She's not even phased at all. Use the voice on him, and she does the book. She holds out the book for him and holds the Gom Jabbar to his neck. She has a big sexual presence in this movie. Let's just say that. Like, her sexual presence here is large, and she's like because she's trying to get Austin Butler to mate with her and all that, so she can have a female daughter to try to find the next Kwisatz Haderach and all that. And man, they got to it fast. They're like one night, and she's like, yeah, it's done. The deed is done. And I'm like, damn, that was fast. I'm like, holy crap. I guess it's not that hard in the near future to do that. Austin Butler's a freaky guy. I don't know how Fade Route there would be in bed, but let's just not talk about that. 7th place, I got Raban, played by Dave Bautista. I can never say his name correctly. Raban. I can never say his name. But Dave Bautista, man, he's so underrated. He's been doing so well lately with Dune Part 1, Blade Runner 2049, Knock at the Cabin. He was great in Knock at the Cabin. Holy crap. He was great in that. Movie wasn't great. It was good, but, here, he's great. He's an angry man in here because he can't get anything done. He's just getting getting beat by Muad'Dib the whole time. And his first scene when he's in this movie is absolutely terrifying. When he's just coming in drinking his like whatever it is, like his coffee or something, and the technology people are looking at the screens and all that. And it's the Fremen are taking out the Harkonnens and all that, and he's like, "How do you let this happen? We got to kill the rats!" And he just starts slamming this guy's head against the monitor like 5 times. And he starts yelling. I'm like, he is scary. Dave Bautista is a scary man, and he plays this role so well. He kind of disappears into the role, which I like. And when he goes to hunt down Muad'Dib, like it's the final straw. He's like, "We gotta hunt him down." He goes to hunt him down. He's like walking. Then he just runs away. He's like, nah, this guy's scary. I don't want to fight him anymore. He runs away and almost dies going onto the ornithopters, starts hanging off the edge, and I'm like, God damn. And then he's like, he's the one in charge, and then he's not the one in charge because Fade Rautha takes control. And he, Robin's death from Gurney Halleck, what a fast death, but it's a very deserved death. And that actually brings us to our number 6, which is Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin. He's not in this for a long time, shows back up. A lot of people thought he was dead. I thought he was dead until I read the book, and I was like, Gurney Halleck's still alive? Holy crap, I love Gurney Halleck a lot. I love Josh Brolin. I think he does really well with everything that he's in, especially No Country for Old Men. What an amazing film. I love when Gurney Halleck showed back up in this one. He's on like the basilet kind of instrument, like the fake instrument in the Dune universe. I forget what it's called. He's just singing this hilarious song about there's piss in his still suit. He's like, I'm totally done with this world. He's totally done with it. But then he's able to find Paul again and able to find more purpose again, which I really love. And he just stands. He stands as, Paul's new guard, because that's what he was. He was Leto's like second man, and now he's Paul's second man. He still stands for the Atreides family and all that. I love that a lot. 5th place, I got Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson's a stunner, man. She does great. I still have not watched Silo on Apple. I've heard it's great. Still need to watch that. Rebecca Ferguson's great in the Mission Impossible movies. Still hoping that she comes back in part 2. Maybe not, maybe. But, she, like Lady Jessica in here is terrifying. I was not terrified of her in part 1, but she is terrifying here, especially when she turns into the Reverend Mother. She becomes a whole different person, starts just yelling at people, trying to spread the word of the Lisa Al Gaib and all that. And I'm like, holy crap, lady, you gotta calm down because you're scaring me, and I would do anything that you said at this point. I would do anything that you said. She was saying a lot of different things. She was like trying to get this prophecy going, and she did. She ended up getting it going, but she was scary. Rebecca Ferguson really did turn in a great performance here. 4th place, I got Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem is a fantastic actor, and he really did great here. He was honestly hilarious here. He was the comedic relief character the whole movie, and he was great. He was like, when Paul's like, I'm not the Lisa Al Gaib, I'm not the chosen one, and Stilgar is like, he is too humble to say he's Lisa Al Gaib. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy's so funny. And he's just sucking up to Paul the whole time. He's like, the prophecy as written. And he's like, he's enjoying his time the whole damn runtime. And it's great. And when Paul actually does become the Lisa Al Gaib, Stilgar like stands up. He's like, yeah, let's go. And he follows him into war. He goes on an interesting journey, and he's like, he wants to follow the prophecy because he is from the South. And so I loved Javier Bardem in this role. One of my favorites. Number 3, I got Chani, played by Zendaya. She was actually not this high on the list on first watch, but after I saw it a couple more times, I'm like, I'm really loving Zendaya's performance here. I really love Chani as a character, especially when you get to that second half when Paul does have that big shift into the Lisa Al Gaib. And Chani's left like by herself because she ends up falling in love with Paul, and really loving who he is in that first half. In that second half, she's not really liking who he is. He's a changed person. And you see her in that just the eye acting by Zendaya, like the way she's acting with her eyes, it's just so special for me. I love when people can just act without saying anything, act with their eyes, facial expressions. She does great, especially in that third act duel, and Paul's just looking at her, and you can see Chani's looking back, and she's just holding a lot of hope for him, but at the same time a lot of regret for everything that happened, and a lot of like, I don't know if I should trust him anymore. I don't know what's going on. It's so sad. I thought a very sad moment was especially when she left. She walked out after, Paul had to chose Princess Orlan to be, his mate, his wife and all that. She walked out. She's like, I'm out of here. And I don't know where her character goes in Dune Messiah, but that's the part of the character I'm most interested to see where her character goes and all that. I love how they ended it on her too. I thought that was perfect. I loved how they ended it on her, because basically kind of the Dune part 1 kind of started with her, and then you're going to end Dune part 2 with her. Love that decision. And number 2, I got Paul, played by Timothy Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet, man, he's doing a great job. He has some great performances of these past couple of years. I mean, you got this, you got Wonka, you got Bones and All, you got Dune Part One, you got Call Me by Your Name, you got Beautiful Boy, you got so many different movies that you can just go back to and look at him and like, this is a great performance. But I think that this is his best performance to date. 1 and 2 are very close, but I put Timothy Chalamet number 2. I loved how cool, calm, and collected his character is in kind of the first half, because he's still kind of like the same Paul from the first movie in that first half. And you're waiting for him to do that tonal shift. You're waiting for him to get a little bit more powerful, waiting for him to get a little more confident, to act like his dad. The Duke of Arrakis, as he's called in the second act. And when he does eventually drink the water of life and become the Lisan al Gaib and Duke of Arrakis, that monologue to the Fremen was so powerful, and kind of how he made his voice a little bit deeper. I think that's what he was doing. I think it sounded a little bit deeper. Maybe it's done in post and all that, but how he did that is great. His facial motions were actually brilliant too, especially the final couple minutes. Of course, when he's looking at Chani, we're looking at Princess Erlan. The performance in that second half completely blew my mind. Completely was his best performance of all time. I was like, this man, this is why he's one of the best today. I was just blown away by his performance as Paul in the second half. But my favorite performance and character of this has to be Feyd-Rautha, played by Austin Butler. Everyone's been hating on Austin Butler lately. They've been saying, he's just using the Elvis accent. I mean, he kind of is in interviews. He's kind of just stuck with that voice his whole entire life, as I would say. But man, oh man, his transformative performance here is absolutely crazy. I don't understand how he did it, but he's probably played one of my favorite villains in the past 5-10 years now. He is terrific in here, and we'll get to his scenes in a little bit. But his performance, he's scary. He scared the shit out of me when I was watching the movie for the first time, and he still scares me on the 4th viewing. I'm like, God, he's so scary. He just, he gets a knife and he's just like killing people. He's like, stab, stab, stab. Anyone that he sees, he just starts killing them. He's like, you don't agree with me? F you, I'm just going to stab you. I'm just going to slit your throat and all that. He gets a damn knife to go into the arena, and then he's just like, is the blade sharp enough? He puts it on his tongue, and then he's like, stab. And he's like, do, to the other girl. He's just like, I don't care. I'm just going to kill you. And I'm like, bro, you gotta calm down a little bit, because you're going crazy. I love it, but you're going crazy. And then at the end, when he's like, you fought well, Atreides, in the arena battle, and then when he kills the Atreides, and then when he dies to Paul, he's like, you fought well, Atreides. I love that little callback between those two lines and all that. I love his death. I love every scene with Feyd-Rautha. I wish we had more of him, but I loved his introduction in the hour mark whenever it showed up. I thought Austin Butler did a terrific job. Now it's time to talk about my favorite scenes of the movie. This is going to be the last topic of the spoiler review. Leave your favorite scenes down below in the comments, as I said, but each scene in this movie was straight up amazing, straight up perfection, and each shot I think could be framed and put up on your wall. That's how stunning I think this movie looks. And I was trying to do like a top 5 scenes. I couldn't do it. So I just put together, 15 to 20 scenes that I just love, that I want to talk about. We're not going to spend like too long on it, but we're going to spend a decent amount of time talking about it. So I will say the opening Harkonnen kind of sniping scene was brilliant. What a way to open the damn movie. You just have the sun going down and all that. You have the Fremen kind of hiding, and you have the Harkonnens coming down, trying to look for Fremens, trying to look for the rats, as Rabban calls them. And then they need the worms. There's worm signs, so they're like, oh, we got to get out. So they start going up. They turn on something on their belt. They start levitating up to the mountainside, the cliffside, and all that. And you see the shot goes back, and you see them just going up one by one. And I'm like, oh, that is beautiful. I love the way how that was done. It just looked insanely beautiful with all the orange coming off the screen. The Harkonnen suits were great here too. And they were just on the top, and they just started getting sniped down off that huge ledge by the Fremen. They just felt like 100 feet or something. You just hear that boom, they just fall down. I thought that scene was brilliant. And then you got Lady Jessica drinks the water of life. A small scene that I love just because of sound design, when the water of life starts going into her bloodstream and all that, and you see the inside of her body that just blushes in, and just like the sound design there. And then it hits like Aaliyah as a fetus, and they're like, oh no, what have we done? She's pregnant. And I'm just like, yeah, what have you done, you dumb old ladies, Bene Gesserits? But then she turns into Bene Gesserit, and she's like a whole totally different person. And then one of my favorite scenes of this movie, I will say, is Paul and Chani's kiss on the sand dune. So you see Paul's on the sand dune. He's like taking off the ring. He's like, I found my place, Dad. And I thought that was brilliant, brilliant piece of writing there. And then Chani comes up. They have this heart to heart. You know, Chani's crushing on him. He's crushing on Chani. Then they have their first kiss. And, you know, Hans Zimmer's score comes in. The camera goes back, starts, you know, whipping around him. And I'm like, oh, goosebumps, goosebumps, goosebumps. That is a beautiful scene. Straight up beautiful. You don't need any action. It's just them two on screen chemistry. Hans Zimmer scoring the background. Beautiful scene. I love how that was done. And then like what happened? Then you have the spice harvester attack with Chani and Paul. Their first spice harvester attack that they do attack. They start running out of the sand. I love how they. I love what the Fremen do. They're just hopping out of the sand like it's a damn attack. And I'm like, holy crap, bro. You guys are just hiding in the sand for how long? It's absolutely insane. But I love when they just pop out. They like start running out and just start killing the Harkonnens and all that. And then the thing that made this special for me is, you know, they're hiding behind the legs of the spice harvester and they're trying to take down this ornithopter. And the ornithopter, as I said, is shooting like really fast. And I love the sound design of how that's shooting and how that's flying around. I just love it so much. It's so unique, and I think it's done so well. And then you have Chani trying to load the blaster and all that. She's trying to shoot him. Paul's fighting the Harkonnen. One Harkonnen guard is almost getting to Chani. Chani turns around and fires him. He shoots back into the harvester and explodes. I thought that was hilarious. And then how they're trying to explode the ornithopter is done so well. How it falls, all the sound stops, and then it, you know, when it falls to the ground, it explodes. The sound comes back in a big boom. Ah, man, the sound design on here is absolutely insane. Then you have Paul's first ride, which was a clip that was released before the movie. I saw that before the movie release. It still hits very hard in IMAX. Like, just the camera work done there, sound design done there. Paul just, you know, not knowing what to do half the time, but then finally getting the hold of it, and the score coming in, boom. It's great. And then another great scene is Fade Routha's introduction / the arena battle. Giedi Prime looked absolutely insane. Giedi Prime, you know, with its black sun, so it's all like black and white. They filmed it with infrared and all that. And as I said, Austin Butler's Fade Routha, he's a menace to society. It's a very transformative performance. He's a true villain, kills anyone he wants, starts screaming. You know, he has those black teeth and all that. Giedi Prime's arena was intense, and I felt like the whole introduction was done so well. Then you have Gurney Halleck's return, and I love the line that Paul says when he finally finds him. He's like, "I recognize your footsteps, old man." And if you don't remember that, that's what he says in the first one when when Gurney comes to get him from the sand harvester. I love that callback. Another great scene is when they're finding the warheads, because, you know, Gurney Halleck says, you know, we hid warheads here, and they're finding them. And I love how they actually find them. I love how Denny actually shows them finding them, because some big blockbusters, you know, they would just say, oh yeah, we got some warheads, let's just use them, boom, boom, boom. But this one, they actually go into like the kind of tunnel and go find them. They actually find them. You get to actually see them. I love that. They don't skip a damn beat in here. Then the Fremen siege gets attacked and all that. Fade Routha comes and kills one of the Fremen people. Terrifying stuff right there. And then you know, Paul goes to the south now. This is when the third act is totally happening. He drinks the water of life, and he gets to see Aaliyah, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. As I said, she's in the movie for just one little scene and all that. I love that scene when he drank the water of life, and you can see the little like the blue, and the screen turns kind of blue, and you can see all the different people and all that he's kind of seeing. And then Paul, he turns into the Lisan al Gaib, and his monologue is strong. As I said when I was talking about his performance, that monologue is just so strong. One of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. It's because Timothée Chalamet is putting on a show. It's just the way he's just screaming at these people. The way he's just, I'm like, I want to be a Fremen. I want to go to battle with you, man. That it was just so inspiring, but it's just terrifying how he's speaking, because he was like, because you could see how much he's turning. You can see Chani just noticing it too. It's kind of terrifying. Then they go into battle. They launch the warheads into the, you know, sand dunes, and it explodes everything, and it's like, oh, what a shot. What a shot. And then the sandworms attack, and you're like, oh, what a shot. What a shot. This battle just was like insane. I could have taken another hour of this battle. Then everything, battle happens and all that. Gurney gets to kill Rabban. I love how that was short. And then Paul versus Fade. That duel is my favorite scene of the whole entire movie. That was intense. I love how they cut out the score. Just that, you know, you can hear the knives, you can hear them fighting, you can hear the heavy breathing done by Paul. He's almost dying, but he comes back. He comes back by the end, because, you know, he's going to come back. He's the damn Messiah. He's the damn Lisan al Gaib, and he's terrific. I love this fight scene. I love the choreography. It's one of the best hand-to-hand fight scenes I've seen in a long time. I think it was done very well. That's why it's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. And then you have the end when, you know, Paul's like, kiss the ring, Emperor, and he like stomps on the ground. Then one of my favorite parts of the soundtrack plays called it's the score is the song is called "Kiss the Ring" in the soundtrack. I love that little ending. How that's the ending song in the whole movie. You know, you end on Zendaya's Chani. It's kind of devastating. They go to the Holy War. Paul's going to fight the Great Houses and all that. And you're like, I want more. Give me 2 hours more, please. I want to see this. I want to see this Great Houses fight. It just, you know, it ends. It's a huge science fiction odyssey kind of journey, and I would love to see a double feature with both of them. I think that'd be very cool. But that is my spoiler review of Dune Part 2, going all in depth on this. I had so many favorite scenes, so many favorite memories. I'm going to go see it a couple more times. Let me know what were your favorite parts of Dune Part 2. Leave your spoiler thoughts down below. Make sure to like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.